Happy Monday. I'm Devon Lewis-Buchanan with Inspire Youth, and you're tuned into Perspective Matters. Today's topic we're talking about is pride, the enemy of perseverance. Now, the reason I got on this topic, or the reason I selected this topic, was last week I had the opportunity to speak to some young men, and the question that I asked them that kind of sparked what we're talking about today was, what is stopping you from doing what you really want to do or what you're passionate about? And I would say 90% of the young men that I was speaking to told me that it was themselves. And shocking enough that I think that answer is pretty valid. You know, it's funny that we stand in our way of completing the goals that we set out to accomplish. And it was when I kind of got the idea or the general consensus that these young men were basically saying that it is who they were or who they thought they were that was preventing them from moving forward in their own goals. So I went back and, of course, looking up some definitions because I love words, but I most importantly love the definition to words because they tell us the distinction between them. So I went back and I looked up pride. And, pride has two different connotations, positive and negative. And the positive is basically defined as being proud of a particular quality or skill. And we should have pride in our craft and what we do in our endeavors. It should be done with a sense of pride. But then I went back and I looked at the negative connotation, which is foolishly, irrationally corrupt sense of one's personal values, status, and accomplishments. And I thought that that was a great definition, because that is something that I believe I've struggled with in the past. And to hear these young men, 16, 15 years old, to be saying that this is one of their struggles that they're going through right now, and at this point of their lives is was eye opening. And it also just made me think back to being that age and how I thought, because like the saying goes, pride comes at the fall. You know, and I believe that sometimes that our pride definitely blocks us and hinders us when we're using it in a way where we see ourselves as bigger than. So I also went back and I looked up perseverance, and perseverance is basically steady persistence in a course of action, a purpose, a state, especially in spite of difficulties, obstacles, and discouragement. So basically continuing to do something even when you're not getting the results and there's no sign of success. That's the definition of perseverance. And I love that definition and I love that word because how many of us have ever strived to try to complete something, to do something, and haven't been met with resistance? And if you ever accomplished something where you haven't been met with resistance, then that task was too easy for you, and you probably should be trying something else after you completed that goal, or whatever task it was. Basically, we are all going to meet our roadblocks. And it's basically when we decide that, is this really worth it, that I'm going to continue to push and continue to strive. And for those young men, in their mind, they were already at a point at 15, 16 years old that, is it really worth me pushing through because I'm not seeing the results? And so I shared with them, a story with me. I wanted to play football as a young kid, and that was my goal. That was my dream. That's all I wanted to do. And for me to being able to give them reference that I wasn't good when I was growing up. I wasn't a very good football player, like the other people who were praised at the Little League and the rec centers and also in high school. But I kept with it. I stuck with it, and that was something that I believed that was going to work out in my favor. Even when I didn't see the results, even when I wasn't getting the playing time, even when there was times where, of course, I thought about, is this really, going to be the thing that I was going to do or go forward with? And I believe for a lot of them, it's that same thought process. But you got to get to the point where you have, unwavering belief. And I think just continuing to do something when it's hard, this sets you up to do anything going forward. And a lot of our young people don't have that reference that, people who've actually stuck with what they said they're going to do. One young man in particular told me a while back that, You know, why should he why should he try to complete his goals when nobody in his family has ever stuck to what they said they were going to do? And that's a harsh reality. For an 18-year-old or 17-year-old to say that, and for them to basically take that as their life. Take what's happened or what other people haven't done and reflect it on their own life. We all have our own sense of pride. You know, pride is important, but also we have to understand that pride can be our downfall. We should take pride in ownership in our crafts and what we believe in and the things that we want to accomplish. But also, we need to understand that our pride or being proud about the things that are, our personal values or our status and accomplishments, um, all that stuff comes and goes. And, last week I talked about stripping myself of titles that I've carried and I was proud of. Um, that's something that I believe it comes a time where we should reevaluate ourselves and say, am I my accomplishments? Once we accomplish them, should we sit there and hold them on a pedestal and say that, hey, this is who I am because I've done this? And after I was done playing football, having the opportunity to go to college and play college football, when I was done with it, I had to reevaluate myself and tell myself, you're no longer a football player. You're not playing football anymore. So leave that identity and find a new one. You have to be secure enough to move forward and do those things. So, all the titles that I thought in my head that I was going to carry for the rest of my life, I had to put them to the side. And I had to find different goals and different conquests that I wanted to conquer because I could no longer say that I'm pursuing football. So, for a lot of these young men, I believe that once they are able to say or have some reference that, yes, I stuck with something, I completed it, and now I know going forward that anything that I really want to do, I have to be able to push through even when it's ugly. Even when it's bleak, even when it seems though none of this stuff is ever going to, amount to anything. That's when you really find out if you really want it or not. So persevere. I mean, that is the key. Persevere. Push through. Keep going. And put your pride to the side, people. I mean, it's very important. Um, because like you said, man, or like I said, you never know, how close you are to your goals. But if you stop trying and you turn away, then you'll never know. So that's my time. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. It's just another week of perspective. I appreciate every one of you guys. And if you are on our site, you can scroll down to the tab where it says extend a hand to help out and be a mentor as well, to assist in the mission that we have of building a network of mentors. And also for you guys who are interested in adding some perspective to Perspective Matters, please contact me. Shoot me some infos in my email address, info@inspireyouths.com. And because I do want to hear other people's opinions on different topics. I think that's very important. But please reach out. I'm one phone call away, most definitely one email away. So that's my time, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a good one. Be blessed.